What if the most successful company in the world spent an entire year running as fast as it could, only to end up standing exactly where it started? I have been staring at the same chart for weeks, and honestly, it's been driving me a little crazy. You know that feeling when you are sure you have found a shortcut, but everyone else is passing you on the main road? That was me in 2025, looking at my portfolio while the rest of the tech world was screaming about the AI revolution and the stock price were hitting the moon. Amazon stock price was just sitting there. It barely moved. I'll be the first one to admit, I don't have this all figured out. There was night. I sat here wondering if the Amazon era was just over. Maybe they got too big. Maybe they lost their edge. It's a relatable struggle, right? You see a flat return when you know the company is supposed to be the king of the jungle. It makes you wonder if you have missed a turn somewhere. But then I started digging into the numbers. And here's the thing. The boring stock price was actually hiding one of the most violent internal transformation I have ever seen in a company of this size. Let's be honest, the first thing that hits you when you look at their 2025 financial is a sense of shock. In 2024, Amazon's free cash flow was healthy, robust $38.2 billion. But by the third quarter of 2025, that number had plummeted to roughly $14.8 billion. Think about that for a second. That is a massive drop. I remember staring at that $23 billion gap and thinking, where did all the money go? But then I looked at the operating cash flow. That's the money coming in from actual business, the packages delivered, the cloud services. The number was actually up 16%. The core engine wasn't just running, it was roaring. The disappearing money had not been lost, it had been buried. Amazon was in the middle of $125 billion spending spree, a capex cycle that felt more like an empire building campaign. They were deliberately spending big on AI cloud capacity and robotics flow, which temporarily hurt their free cash flow. To understand where that money was going, I had to look past the spreadsheet and into the warehouses. Amazon has quietly built the world's largest robotic operations. They have deployed over 1 million robots across their network. This isn't some expensive pilot program or a flashy demo for a tech conference. It's live production. These are not the robots with clunky arms that move in a straight line. They have something called Proteus. It's their first fully automated mobile robot that actually works alongside human instead of being caged off for safety. It navigates around people like it has a mind of its own. Then there's Sparrow. This is an AI computer vision arm that handles millions of individual products, things of all shapes and size that used to require a human hand. It can see a bottle of vitamin and a pair of socks and know exactly how to grab both without crushing them. And the one that really got me was Sequoia, this containerized storage system that makes inbound shipping 75% faster and processing 25% faster. When you combine with the Project Luna, which uses agentic AI to orchestrate the entire dance of the warehouse, you realize they aren't just building a better post office. They are building a physical manifestation of the internet, an automated organism. They are even testing Digit, a humanoid robot from Agility Robotics, to see if machine can actually walk and move just like we do. There's a moment of realization when you see a robot with legs walking across a warehouse floor, and you think, that world has changed. But I had to ask myself, is this actually helping the business? Or is it just expensive toys? The goal, of course, is to cut repetitive labor cost and compress cycle time to drive up retail margins. It's the structural edge that no one else can afford to build. As I dug deeper, I realized the warehouse was only half of the story. The real shock was coming from the digital side. In Q3 of 2025, Amazon's cloud business, AWS, reaccelerated to 20% growth, hitting $33 billion in revenue for that quarter alone. This was the profit engine that everyone was worried would slow down because of competition from Microsoft and Google. Instead, management was talking about capacity constraint. They literally couldn't build data center fast enough to handle the demand for AI workloads. So what did they do? They doubled down. They added 3.8 gigawatts of power in single year, enough to run millions of homes, all dedicated to processing data. They opened Project Rainier, an $11 billion AI data center campus specifically for Anthropic. And while everyone was staring at the cloud, a sleeper engine was quietly printing money in the corner, advertising. It hit $17.7 billion in revenue for that quarter. If you have ever noticed those sponsored products when you are just trying to buy batteries, or the ads that now play on Amazon Prime, that is a high margin growth pillar that is supporting the rest of the company's massive bet. It grew over 20% year over year. But here's where it gets messy. It's never a straight line up, is it? While I was getting excited about the robots and the data center, I hit a snag in the Q3 report. There was a $2.5 billion FTC settlement and $1.8 billion in severance charges. These one-offs were masking how well the company was actually performing. If you take those out, their operating income would have been $21.7 billion. This is a relatable struggle of an Amazon investor. You see the potential, you see the rocket fuel being loaded into the ship, but you also see the regulatory headlines. The intense competition from Azure and Google Cloud. I don't have it all figured out. None of us do. There were days in 2025 when I looked at the flat stock price and thought, maybe the market is right. Maybe they're spending too much. Maybe this AI thing is a bubble that's going to pop before Amazon can see a return on Project Rainier. The market was worried about heavy capex and cloud competition optics. It's easy to get swept up in that worry. When you see your portfolio staying still while the world is moving, it feels like you're losing. But then I remember the classic Amazon playbook. This is a company that has always depressed its free cash flow in the short term to invest in the long term. They did it with the original fulfillment centers, they did it with the first AWS servers, and now they are doing it with AI and robotics. The operating cash flow is strong, which means the business is essentially self-funding this massive build. They are not going to bank with their hats in their hand. They're using the profit from your Prime subscriptions and those sponsored ads to build the infrastructure of 2030. The stock lagged in 2025 because market hate uncertainty. It sees $125 billion leaving the bank account, but it hasn't seen the full return on that investment. That disconnect, the gap between what the company is building and what the stock price reflects, is exactly why I started looking at Amazon as a buy. Here's the secret about the big system. They don't work perfectly. They just break in interesting ways. In 2025, Amazon's logistics system was breaking under the weight of human limitations. You can only ask a person to pick a package so fast before they burn out. That's why they had to build Blue Jay and Sequoia. The system broke, so they replaced it with something automated. The cloud system broke too. AWS hit a capacity ceiling when they didn't have enough chips or power to handle the AI surge. So they are spending $125 billion to build a new ceiling. It's a series of trade-offs. They are trading today's cash for tomorrow's dominance. They are trading the stability of slow-growing retail business for the volatility of high-tech robotic empire. So here I am looking at the same chart I started with. The line is still moving flat. So here I am looking at the same chart I started with. The line is still mostly flat. The $125 billion is still spent. The million robots are still whirling away in warehouse I will never visit. Is this a red flag, as some critics say? Is it a sign of a company that has lost its discipline and is just throwing money at wall to see what sticks? Or is this the 2026 rocket fuel that will leave everyone else in the dust once the spending normalizes and the cash flow re-expands? I think about the Project Rainier campus and the Project Luna AI. I think about the fact that even with billions in settlement and severance, the core business grew sales by 13%, over $180 billion in single quarter. Investing isn't about having the right answer today. It is about deciding which risk you are willing to live with while you wait for tomorrow. Amazon is betting the house on a future where AI and robotics aren't just features, but the foundation of everything we buy and how we buy it. They are spending like they have already won, even if the stock market hasn't noticed yet. But I have to wonder, if you were the one holding this checkbook for $125 billion, would you have the courage to spend it all on future no one can quite see yet? Or would you play it safe and keep the cash? To answer to that might be the difference between a flatline and a rocket ship. What do you think? Is the spending a warning sign or the reason to get in before the dip disappears for good? To think about this another way, imagine a farmer who spent every penny he has to buy the most advanced irrigation system and the best seeds ever created. For the first year, his account is empty, and his neighbors, who just planted by hand, have more cash in their pockets. From the outside, the farmer looks broke, But deep under the soil, the roots are spreading further and further than anyone else's. The neighbors are happy today, but the farmer is waiting for the harvest. The only question is, will the rain come in time?